What is going on, fam? We have a 21 350 King Ranch, and it, my friends, is from the Great White North. I want to talk about what we're going to be doing today on this 6.7 because all of you steel body guys might want to take some notes because this might help you. All right, guys, let's check it out. Ooh, we are tight. Let's get out of this thing. Pop the hood. Ooh, swinging on the hoist arms. Good looking truck. Big shout out to the Great White North customer. We appreciate him for coming through and checking us out. This is a very clean 2011 6.7. This has got the King Ranch. This truck actually came from Texas, was in Texas, I guess it's majority of its life. We got 117,000 on the vehicle. Size, everything looks really nice. Whole body line, bed, nothing's rotted out. I like. Something that's even more wondering is this thing's got 3 trailer hitches. What in the heck? Kind of weird, kind of cool. Got the fifth wheel plugs up in the back. Tires look decent. I don't know what about the front ones. We got front ones over here. Front one's looking good. Now, two of the main reasons why we are here is because of this customer's check engine light and it being on for P0401. Now, if you guys have been following the channel for some time, you guys have seen me cover the P0401 on these trucks, specifically the steel bodies, and what that means. But the one thing that is different between the steel bodies and the Superdutys is the EGR cooler. Check out the ports in here compared to the steel-bodied stock one, which we're going to show you once we take this off. They are compatible parts. They do use the same gasket kit. These can be purchased in America or in Canada for a lot more money, but the final piece for this puzzle is going to be S&S's Diesel Motorsports DCR pump. So kind of while we have this thing tore apart, one of our main goals is to correct the check engine light with a brand new, more robust Superdutys guts. And we're gonna see how packed in all this carbon is on the front side of this cooler, which if I were to guess is gonna be pretty caked in there. Stock 6.7, we have nothing done to it. Gonna be kind of worried about this pipe. Gonna be doing the EGR cooler. I have something in my back pocket I'm gonna be kind of working on. I'm envisioning all of this out of here. And then obviously since we have the intake off, it's going to make it a little easier to get to the fasteners on the EGR cooler, because to take the intake off is one of the biggest goals in order to get to the high pressure fuel pump and replace it with that DCR. Look at everything down there. Completely bone stock truck. 2011s came from the factory with that dual ribbed serpentine belt. This is what it has on it. And I noticed that it wasn't sitting in its little groove. It is now, but it's going to come out to do the repair. I am going to need, this isn't right either. That's supposed to be down in there. But one of the first steps we're going to do is I'm going to grab the over hood light. We are going to have to start draining the coolant from both the primary and secondary, because as soon as we pull that EGR cooler off, it's going to old faithful geyser all over the place. So I want to make sure that we're going to collect all of that coolant. Guy's going to get new fresh coolant, and hey, a big shout out to you, mister. Thanks for bringing your truck in. I'm really excited to not only take care of a problem that you've been having for this P0401 with this updated cooler guts, but my favorite, that DCR. You guys have been asking, how's it been going? How many have we done? We've done a lot. It's been going very well. We have our first that we are doing, and that gentleman's actually going to be coming all the way from Oregon. So a big shout out to him for coming through and getting these updated parts on your 6.7. So let me stop yapping. Let me get the coolant drained. Coolant drained. Brother, I haven't forgot about you. We still here. We're gonna drain the coolant and get tearing into this 2011 6.7. All right, now coming back to this EGR cooler. These are the guts we're putting in this steel body. In 2017, they changed it to what you just saw. In 11 through 16, the EGR cooler looks like this, and a bunch of flow and EGR coking deposits are trying to flow through here, but in here we have the inlet and the outlet. It goes through and gets cooled and then goes back into the engine. Now, what these were really famous for was a P0401. If you had a steel body and you had a P0401, the most indicative thing for you to do is have your EGR cooler guts replaced. Now, if it was under warranty back in the 11 through 16 days, you would be getting this cooler core in here. All that is really a radiator cooling the exhaust gases as it gets recirculated back into the engine. A lot of people don't know that this is kind of like a trifecta area, this lower intake. We have fresh, cool, dense air coming in to the lower intake, about to be compressed by the turbocharger. However, in this lower intake manifold, we have dry, sooty EGR mixing with this air, and we have oily, wet vapor mixing down here at another port. So we have this nasty culmination of events that just can make havoc in the lower intake. But because the guts inside here look like here and not these, that flows so much better. You're gonna get a check engine light on with an EGR insufficient flow code, P0401. Gas jobs have the same type code, but on our 6.7 diesels, we gotta replace the cooler core guts. So why am I gonna be replacing and putting this garbage back in? We're not. We're gonna be putting the Alumaduty guts in. So I'm going to reference in this video's description the video that I've already done replacing the EGR cooler, how to take it off the vehicle, how to manipulate it off so you're not breaking these EGR bolts. Now we're taking the cooler off together, leaving this pipe on. I took the washer bottle out, I took the PCM out, and the cooler is about to come off. But I wanted to take it off with you guys so that you knew exactly how I was maneuvering it off the engine, so you knew to leave this frickin' pipe on. Stop taking this pipe off. If you have the ProMax kit, I highly advise you to use it. We just have a brand new kit over here. Wait till you guys see it. Right there underneath that coolant bottle, we have a tool that is going to allow us to easily remove the NOx and PM sensors. Wait till you guys see this. I'm excited to show you. But let's get suited and booted up because we're going to remove this EGR cooler together. All right, EGR cooler right here. You guys can see it's all rocking loose. We have 1, 2, 3 long 8 millis, 4, 5, 6, 7 shorties. We have the shorties in the back. And we have, where's the long boys? Where they are? Oh, over here. Over here in Cody's container. CP's Garage hooked us up with some way cool bolt holders. But yeah, here's the long ones. They're super long and you're not gonna be able to mix those up. So when you guys take this cooler out, know that the coolant passage right under here is gonna wanna puke all over. So We're going to carefully sneak this off the front or the side of the engine. Get my workout pad over here. Let's see if I can maneuver this off. So cool, this guy came from Ontario, and the Border Patrol people knew who we were, and gave him a pass to come along. Hey, let this guy pass. I know who he is. Way cool. Big shout out to the CBP. All right. You see how that's sitting right there? Maybe if I come around here to the front, you can see. Let's see if we can do this. We're right on the edge of the old milk crate. See how this is coming off, leaving the pipe. Oh, we're not draining any coolant yet. That's good. We're gonna go right over here to the trash can. EGR cooler off. Check it out. Pipe is still on. Just another way to do the same job we've been doing for quite so long, and leaving them bastard bolts in. Ain't nobody got time for that. Now, when you go to put the new one on, don't forget to replace your seals. EGR cooler right here. And now we're gonna break it down together. I've already showed you how to do the original ones, but now getting the Illumidity guts in here is gonna be the cat's ass. Okay, I want you guys to set the cooler down on a bench like this where you can have a little bit of an overhang. See how I'm saying? See how the cooler is on the bench? We have the bypass and the EGR valve. I want to take all of this off the front of the cooler, leaving this on the bench. So I want you guys to get an 8 milli and go and change your battery. Make sure your battery's all strong and ready to go. These are the bolts we're going to rip out. Okay, I need more. Hoverboards don't work on water unless you get power. There we go. All the way down here. You'll see them go right through. Don't get confused with the EGR valve bolts. Those could be easily confused. You want to take the bypass off the cooler. So these ones up here. All of those there. We have this one straight through here, which I can't get. We have this long one here. This one has to come off regardless if you're doing the bypass, the cooler, or just the valve. You can already see it's leaking coolant. I have one more up here. Let's see if this sissy ass quarter drive. Nope, she ain't getting it. Let's see if we can bust it loose now. Oh, that was pretty tight. Not enough for the quarter drive. Cheerio. Okay, check it. That's pretty much it. Now there's going to be a dowel here and a dowel here that's going to align the gasket onto the bypass, or I should say onto the cooler. So if you get it loose, this top one always busts loose first. Now the bottom one, once you get it off the top one, you should be able to go like this and wiggle it right off the dowel. Hopefully this isn't too rusted. You don't want to pry against these surfaces either, because then you're going to have a coolant leak. So before we look at the cooler together, here is the bypass. Doesn't look too bad. Okay, we're looking at the cooler. Here's the guts. Steel body guts. You can see clear, and then it gets cooled and gets all coked up. The difference in temperature and the chemical reaction of all of this nastiness is what causes this to clog up. Now, compare and contrast the new guts, okay? We haven't taken it all the way out of the truck yet, but look at the difference. Just look at the difference. Freaking huge. If any of you guys are contemplating keeping your truck, which you should, because I'm not really an advocate for these new trucks, do what you got to do to keep your trucks on the road now. Whether that means upgrading to the DCR, doing maintenance, doing this, doing whatever you got to do to keep your truck on the road. I'd rather have a maintenance cost associated with keeping my vehicle on the road than having a new car payment, a new truck payment. So with that being said, I think it is very advantageous, for one, keeping it factory. 11 through 16 steel body guys need to make an appointment with Power Stroke Truck Tech and get this cooler upgraded. That's exactly what our friend from Ontario did, and let me tell you, there's definitely an issue with that. Nasty. Okay, well, let's move right along. We need to flip this around to the back. We need a 10 milli. Okay, we'll 10 milli this nut off. Now we got to take all of these 13s off, noting where the studs are at. Stud here and a stud right here. Now when you put this gasket back on, it can kind of be a little tricky because the holes line up, but they don't line up all the way. So kind of a weird situation. Okay, back of the cooler. Got a gasket back here. There should never be any coolant in here. It should always be dry and sooty. So that is the whole guts. What we need to do is to try to take that cooler. I'm going to put it in the vise here. Like, how are we going to do this? Maybe like this. Maybe like this. Or like this. Note to self. Okay. Wet tools. And we have a cooler that's now leaking all over the place. So we're gonna need two hammers. I need my red one and I need my orange one. So I'm using this hammer here to stick down in the hole of the EGR cooler, and I'm gonna use my other hammer to pound the other hammer. Pound them evenly. A little stuck. Okay. EGR cooler almost out. All right. See if we can set this back on the bench. All right. All right, just like we had it. Now we're gonna completely pull this out. Remember, you don't want to be prying. This should be coming straight out. There's no core on this. If it was warranty, you'd have to ship it back. Okay, now check it out. We're gonna clean all this up. I'm gonna dunk this in the water after I take these two O-rings out right here. I'll pop this O-ring out like that. And then I'm gonna go submerge this in the utility tub and get it squeaky clean. All right, I'm going for the fingered cookie. I'm gonna clean all this up. All right, one of the last things you're gonna have to clean, and don't forget, is the bypass. This is bypass to the EGR cooler. We wanna make sure we're not gonna mar this up because we don't wanna have an exhaust or coolant leak. Finally, everything is clean. Once you're done, you want to get the cooler back up on the bench, and you're going to want to go in the new kit of gaskets and grab the O-rings that go in the back of this. Now let's see where we are. You guys want to know the part number to that kit? It is right here. That's going to be for pretty much all Superdutys. These are the same. It does come with the two O-rings, like I said, and we just kind of fit that down here in the groove. Both of them each side. And then I like to get some trans gel and lube those up. Kind of do something like this. Like that, and then you're going to do the same thing to the end of the cooler. It's going to go like this, and that's ready. Now we're going to want to put this down on a clean surface. This big bag in here is the gaskets that are going to go between everything. Okay, you guys can see that way up there. There's two different gaskets. That one goes first, and then this one, if you took the EGR valve off. But we did not take the EGR valve off, so that means our gasket in between those two pieces did not get disturbed. So we don't have to worry about that. So remember how I told you those two dowels up here? Here's the one. We're going to slip this on over the dowels so it looks like that. And then we're going to take our new cooler, and it's only going to go in one way. We can't put this in two different ways. See how we have this rectangle here? Rectangle meets with the rectangle. We're going to slide this in, considerably lighter than the previous model. Way nicer. So what I want you guys to do is get the cooler. We're going to go down here on the floor and make sure you bring your part that's going to keep it clean. All right. And then dowel, and I'm going to push down with my palms until I am raised up off the ground. And you can see the gap now between here is where it needs to be. The last thing that we're going to be doing is putting the valve back on. Okay. Here is the last gasket. That's going to go between the cooler and the bypass. This is already clean. Putting that right on like this, lining up the holes. Now we did get new bolts for the cooler. Why they don't have us reuse them, I don't know. I don't see that they're that big of a deal. But we're going to go around and put all of the bolts in. Now when these first came out, I actually went out and bought the correct torque wrench, but after doing these over and over and over and over, I just wound up learning the feel of the tightness that it needs to be. It's kind of hard to explain, but you guys will understand. So whenever you tighten something, I remember my mentor taught me, start with the middle, everybody. I was going full bore. Full bore all the way around. Just like I'm doing. Not like that. Now go around and do that one more time. Now, guys, I wouldn't lie to you. I rarely do these anymore, but when I was doing them all the time, I had never had one come back doing it the way that I had just did. This is the last step. Give this a little wipey-do, a little clean surface, and then we are going to get our gasket. Okay, let's match the gasket up. This is only going to go on one way. Fourth time's the charm. There we go. Now let's see if we can get it on to the cooler the right way. Is it upside down or what? Don't forget the studs. Did we get it? Did we get it? I think maybe we got it first rip. Ah, just like riding a bike. One more. Don't forget your 10 mil. 10 mil. You don't want to go all the way down. You want to leave room for that bracket, for that EGR cooler, for that EVP. But that is freaking it. EGR cooler rebuilt, ready to go on this 2011 6.7 Alumaduty guts right in there. I'm gonna leave the rest of the video for you guys to look at on the other video that I put in the description, showing you how to take it off of the truck, showing you how to put it back on the truck, filling the coolant back up, and clearing the code. Guys, if you're doing the EGR coolers, stop taking the pipe off. I wanted to show you a different way, and yet an upgrade from both FoMoCo and S&S Diesel. Come see me for both. Let me know if you guys want to get your truck modded with some of the highest quality parts on the market. Let me know what you guys think. Remember to like, comment, sub, share, and I'll catch you guys all next time. See ya!